Hey everybody, it's GoblinX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing another premiere draft of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. So without further ado, let's hop into the pack. We have a pretty fun rare here, although I don't think it's particularly powerful. 3 mana for a 3/3, tap it, sacrifice an artifact with a mana value X to return an artifact with mana value less than X from your grave to the battlefield. If this were less than or equal to, it'd be pretty powerful because then you can trigger your artifact to enter the battlefield and death abilities pretty frequently. But I've tried to play this card a couple times, never managed to have the artifacts needed to get cheaper stuff out. It's really good with the experimental egg, but that's about it, the experimental synthesizer. I don't love the uncommons here, Reinforced Ronin being the best one, but that's for pretty specific decks, just like aggressive artifact-based decks. But I do like the commons here. Okiba Reckoner Raid, one of the best black commons, just so cheap and efficient to get that 2/2 menace out and drain your opponent some life, and Moonsnare Specialist is quite a good bounce spell. Master's Rebuke's great removal in green, decent removal in white, the Wanderer's Intervention, but I think I'm going to start with an Okiba Reckoner Raid. This card has just performed incredibly well for only 1 mana. Pack 2 here, what do we got? Not a particularly spicy pack for pick 2. Roadside Reliquary's pretty solid if you're in a 2-color deck. I would basically never run it in 3-color, but in just a 2-color deck, this is a land that can always cycle for pretty much at least 1 card draw, and sometimes it can draw 2 cards for the 2 mana and sacrifice it. So Roadside Reliquary's solid, and it's also really flexible because it's completely colorless. We throw it into pretty much any deck. And I might just take it here because honestly, nothing here is all that exciting in terms of commons and uncommons. This is a really, really weak pack. There's like Wanderer's Intervention, which is okay removal. Ironhoof Boar's fine because it's a late game ender or a combat trick early. Tales of Master Sashiro is a pretty solid saga for the cost. Bearer of Memory has good late game ability. Kunai is like removal that can fit into any deck, but it's not like the greatest removal ever. I think I'm just taking Reliquary. Super weak pack there. Here we have a Twisted Embrace, which is definitely really strong and a good follow-up to an Okiba Reckoner Raid. I'm pretty happy to just scoop that up. There are a bunch of other good cards in this pack as well. Fade into Antiquity is often just a removal spell for whatever you want it to hit. It exiles as well, which is super good, but there's just so many artifact creatures and enchantment creatures, sagas as well. So many good things to hit with Fade into Antiquity. Moonsnare Specialist is a sweet ninjutsu card, bouncing something to hand. Replication Specialist is a lot of fun, and it's not that bad if you never trigger it. It's still a 5 mana 3/4 flyer. Suit Up is a nice combat trick because it draws you a card. Azusa's Many Journeys, probably be the best green card here. It is a little narrow because it's like really good early game and pretty weak late game, but just how powerful it is to play this and then play a 4 mana card on turn 3 makes it a really good early game play. Samurai is nice and flexible. Pretty good pack overall, but not going to be too hard to just take a Twisted Embrace there. And here we just take a Lethal Exploit, sticking to black and picking up another solid piece of removal. This also combos well with Twisted Embrace because we'll have a modified creature if we have a Twisted Embrace on the board. So that'll turn into -3/-3. So I like just taking Lethal Exploit here, just sticking to what we have so far still. We could also take Seismic Wave, which is a little bit better than Lethal Exploit, I would say, because it potentially kills multiple cards by dealing a damage to all non-artifact creatures. But I think I'd prefer the slightly weaker removal spell that sticks with the color we're already somewhat committed to here. Voltage Surge is a very solid, cheap removal spell. Fade into Antiquity is a super solid, slow removal spell. Not much else in this pack. Harmonious Emergence is fine. 5 mana 4/5. Vigilance Haste. Try to win the game with that. Reckoner's Bargain's like fine card draw. Don't love these blue cards, don't love this white card. Could just take Fade into Antiquity here and just keep taking removal, or Voltage Surge for that matter, and keep taking removal. Feels like I've seen a little more green than red, but I could just be colorblind here. We'll see. I'll take Fade into Antiquity. Yeah, there's better green in this pack than the red in this pack, but there's also a pick 6 Naomi, which is a decent sign for white. That being said, last pack had some pretty weak white. There are no white cards in this pack outside of Naomi, and there is also a pick 6 Jukai Preserver, and this is one of the premium green commons, so I think I'm just going to roll with the Preserver here. 4 mana for a 3/3, put a +1/+1 counter on something when it enters the battlefield, so 4 mana 4/4 at worst. And it has a really good channel effect as a pretty sick combat trick that leaves behind permanent +1/+1 counters. Ecologist Terrarium is nice for just fitting into any deck nicely. Just grabs the land, then puts a counter on something later when you don't need it. Chainfill Centipede's okay. Ideally, it's good with like flying or unblockable creatures. Off-color cards aren't super good. Subduer and Operative are both fine. Tameo Safekeeping is fine to run one of, because you can win a trade in combat, or you can counter a removal spell. It's a little bit flexible there. I think I'm just on Terrarium, though. I'll see some red cards still here. See a great white card still here, Imperial Oath. Imperial Oath is absolutely fantastic. Bronze Plate Bora and Voltage Surge are pretty great. Don't have many creatures at all, especially not like artifact creatures for like red-black artifacts. So if we want to take a red card, I might just take the Boar. I think I want to just take Oath. I mean, that might be weird, but I've just absolutely fallen in love with Imperial Oath throughout the format. This pack's pretty weak. It's just a Scrapyard Steelbreaker or a Clawing Torment, and I think I'm on the Clawing Torment since we're definitely in black. Undercity Scrounger, I suppose. That is a good card for the black-red deck. Kami of Industry is fine, but even in the Rakdos Artifact Sacrifice decks, I only like to run like one copy of it, so I don't think I really need to take one in pack one. But Undercity Scrounger, if we go down like Rakdos Artifacts, this is going to be a premium card. We want as many copies as we can. And it's better in other strategies because it is a black card. We did Wheel of Zeus's Many Journeys. That's a pretty great sign for green. Pretty happy with playing this card on turn 2 if we're lucky. Sky Swimmer Koi super late, Enthusiastic Mechanaut super late. Aki Amber Cube is just not that good, so that's fine to still be in here, but the Koi and the Mechanaut are a pretty big deal. We can't really end up playing blue, red, black or blue, red, green here, so we'll just take the Koi in case we get pushed into blue. Swiftwater Cliffs, even if we get pushed into blue, I'm not going to be excited to play Guardians or Short Circuit. Guardians is certainly better than Short Circuit, I think. Both have their niche appeals. Let's see what we open up in pack 2. We open up a white rare, an incredible red uncommon. Yeah, those are the two best cards in the pack, unfortunately. Twin Shot Sniper, a creature and removal spell all in one, or Cloudsteel Kieran, a bomb rare that can put you in a position where you can't lose for a while. That being said, the next best cards in the pack aren't that much worse, and they are in black. Dockside Chef, making sure as our stuff is dying, we're drawing cards off of it, as long as we have the mana up to respond to the removal spells. Twisted Embrace, just another great black removal spell. I think we're just on one of those two, the Dockside Chef or the Twisted Embrace. We do already have Twisted Embrace, Fade into Antiquity, and Lethal Exploit, and Clawing Torment, so hopefully removal's looking solid for now. Although Dockside Chef isn't that good in black-green, it's really good in like black-red. It's just like solid in any other color pair. Yeah, no, maybe I'm on another Twisted Embrace, come to think of it. Ooh, Shigeki is another one of those cards I've absolutely fallen in love with, but we could have had double Twin Shot Sniper if we pushed into red here. But yeah, Shigeki looks really slow, and it just doesn't look like it does much, but basically what it does is you set it down as a 1/3 to block their 2/2s for a while, and then you bounce it to your hand, fill your grave, and put a land out off of that 2-mana ability, and then you just spend 6 mana and bring the best 2 cards from your graveyard back to your hand. You do that at instant speed because it's a channel effect. If you make it all the way to 8 mana, you're returning your 3 best cards from grave to hand, and that is almost always just going to win the game there. So Shigeki actually has played super sweet. Has played better than it looks for sure. Spinning Wheel Kick, pretty expensive card. It's 4 mana minimum. At 4 mana, you're destroying 1 card. What's so good about this card is that if you make it to 6 mana or even 8 mana, you can destroy 2 or 3 creatures, which is really, really good. So I like Spinning Wheel Kick a lot. Maybe it's better to just take Greater Tanuki first, because that is definitely going to help this deck tick, because it's going to help us mana ramp up and also be the big trampling card to ramp into. So I do love me a Greater Tanuki, but I think I'm taking Spinning Wheel Kick first just for how high impact it is if we ever resolve one of those. How are we doing on the whole artifact enchantment front here? Shut up, Swiftwater Cliffs. Okay. 2 artifacts, 7 enchantment. So we definitely want to get more artifacts if we want cards like Kami of Terrible Secrets to work well. So I don't think we're going to take it that early here. I'll probably just take another Zeus's Many Journeys for now. There's a 3rd Twin Shot Sniper. Someone's going to have the sickest red deck in the history of this format. Somebody's just going to take 3 Twin Shot Snipers in a row this pack. That's absolutely bonkers. I like Jukai Preserver here. Careful Cultivation is fun because it does give you that channel ability to spit out a 1/1 that taps for green. So it's a 2 mana card that helps you ramp up. We have 2 Zeus's Many Journeys to help do that. We probably want to play an 18 land deck here because of our double Zeus's Many Journeys. You are just straight losing on value if you play a Zeus's Many Journeys without a 4th land in hand so that you can do the double spell there. The double land per turn, I mean. So we probably, rather than going for Cultivation Ramp, because we have double Journeys, we go for Journeys Ramp, which means we go for 18 lands here to make that happen more consistently. We have double Twisted Embrace, Spinning Wheel Kick, Lethal Exploit, Clawing Torment. Don't think we need a Master's Rebuke right now. Although it's between that, Searchlight Companion, and Tales of Master Sashiro, so it's not competing with all that much, to be fair. But I do like Tales of Master Sashiro quite a bit. Pretty good follow-up to a Jukai Preserver. Nice big kind of game-ending card. It's kind of what we're looking for now. We're just looking for big beefy cards to start slapping our opponent with. The S-tier uncommon, the super excellent Kappa Tech Wrecker. It's kind of Green's version of the Twin Shot Sniper that we're seeing, that we passed a ton of, so it's nice to have our own. This is a 2-mana 1/3 that enters with a Death Touch counter, and when it deals combat damage to a player, you can remove that counter to exile an artifact or enchantment. Again, a format with so many artifact enchantment creatures, this is almost always going to remove one of their creatures and leave behind a 1/3 body, and it even has the ninjutsu ability to make sure it's sneaking in there. Easy Preserver here, card is just excellent. 3rd of Zeus's Many Journeys and just really run 18 lands. I don't think so. I think I'd rather take a Harmonious Emergence here, or even a Commune with Spirits. This is nice in any deck with a lot of enchantments, because you get to play this and grab a land with it in the early game, or grab an enchantment with it in the late game. I think I'd rather just take an Emergence right now, though. Blossoming Sands, if we want to splash. Bamboo Grove Archer for an annoying blocker, but we already have 2, 3, 4, 5... 2 turn plays, or turn 2 plays. Might just take another Fade into Antiquity, but again, we've got a lot of removal going on already. Probably just want another creature like Bearer of Memory. Another 3-drop creature? Yeah, we don't have a lot of creatures here. Bearer of Memory seems solid. It has a pretty great late game mana sink ability. Neither of these green or black cards are anything I'd be excited to play in this deck, but for now we'll fill it up with an Heir of the Ancient Fang. Just take some random nonsense. I guess it's possible we splash blue if we open something sick. Yeah, red was just wide open in pack 2. That's just all that's flying around. That being said, those last few red cards are just not playable. Alright, Lion Sash is a pretty excellent rare, but we do get a phenomenal uncommon for our color pair, the Gloom Shrieker. 3 mana for a 2/1 menace, and you return a permanent from your graveyard to your hand when it enters the battlefield. Just an excellent deal there. Love the card, super fun with channel and sacrifice effects. So yeah, Gloom Shrieker is going to be sweet here. We'd love to wheel Leech Gauntlet, but that's not super likely. We'd like to wheel it because it's a nice early game lifelinker, but more particularly does help with the artifact and enchantment theme, have more artifacts out if we want to start picking up those 3/4s that draw us a card that just keep flying around the pods. The Kami of Terrible Secrets. Definitely take a Careful Cultivation this time, I think. Actually, we did pick up that Dismal Backwater. We picked up that Dismal Backwater. We already have a Ecologist Terrarium. We might be able to pick up a Greater Tanuki as well. We can splash in a Colossal Sky Turtle. This only costs a single blue mana. It's a 7 mana, 6/5 flying with Ward 2. And 2 good channel abilities if you're stuck on mana. Yeah, no, it's going to be the Sky Turtle for me here. We're going to splash in a big old Sky Turtle. Don't think I'll splash in an early game Mind Link mech, though. What makes the Sky Turtle so easy to splash is how late in the game you're casting it. Mind Link mech wanting to cast it turn 3 or turn 4, ideally. Not as easy of a splash. Plus, there's already just an awesome card for our deck here. Season of Renewal is such a great deal. It's very hard not to draw a creature and enchantment off of this card for the 3 mana, and it's instant speed, so you just use it in your opponent's end steps, set up the cards you want to play next turn. It's super good with channeling our Sky Turtle or something like that, and then still being able to recast it later in the game. I love having 1 Season of Renewal in pretty much any green deck. Green-white in particular, but even green-black can make great use. So we have another Twisted Embrace, another Fade into Antiquity, a Goshintai of Hidden Cruelty. This is really good in some matchups and just kind of sits there doing nothing in others. Goshintai is a little swingy to me. Twisted Embrace and Fade into Antiquity are good in literally every matchup. So I think I'd rather just take one of those. I guess there are some rare matchups where Fade into Antiquity isn't good, but Twisted Embrace is always. That being said, I already have Double Embrace. I think I want to just take another Fade. Have double Fade here. There's nothing in green-black here, fortunately. Yeah, and red, just Rabbit Battery, Kumano faces Kakazan. Maybe a misread draft here. Red is wide open. If we just started taking Twin Shot Snipers pack 2, I'd be living the dream here. Triple Twin Shot Sniper, start picking up a Rabbit Battery and stuff. Guess we could take like a Prosperous Thief here, and it's possible that we use this to get treasure tokens and stuff. I don't know. Pretty impossible that we're pushing into red right now. All right, Greater Tanuki is excellent here. It's going to be able to pull our island out of a deck. It's going to be able to ramp us up. It's super good with Season of Renewal because we put it back into our hand. Super good with Gloom Shaker, putting it back into our hand. It's got to be the pick here to just help ramp into our big plays and also be another big play. The Web Spinner Cuff would be solid here too. It's just a really annoying blocker that'll help us survive till we're playing those big late game plays. Speaking of surviving till your late game plays, Bamboo Grove Archer is quite the annoying blocker. You definitely want to have a good amount of creatures that can come onto the board early and just get ready to block things, especially ones that can block flyers just to stop the ninjutsu decks from popping off early game. Because the ninjutsu decks are going to try to get their cheap flyers and menace creatures, so you just have some thick, cheap blockers to stop those. And you can really shut them off for a while. Take a Master's Rebuke here. We're taking not much. If you're ever in a position like this, where there is nothing I'm going to play in my deck, you can always hold down the Alt key if you're on PC. To see how many you own in your collection, it'll say whatever out of 4. For me, it just has a check mark on everything because I've just drafted so much I already own all those cards. So it doesn't really matter. Take a Kami of Terrible Secrets over a Network Terminal. I think Terrarium, Greater Tanuki, and the blue-black duel should be enough, hopefully. Probably not playing Roadside Relic right now that we're splashing in a third color. Yeah, and then on Mac, I think it's the Options key, but I don't use Mac, so I don't know what Mac's equivalent to the Alt key is. Just keep taking the best cards. I guess we could splash a Tamiyo's Completion, but we have so much removal just in green-black here already. Just slapping a bunch of nonsense into the sideboard for the vault progress. Okay. Time to build this deck. We get to cut 5 cards here. I'm probably cutting an island for another forest. Just have the 1 island to pull out with Tanuki or Terrarium, plus we have a Dismal Backwater. So we have 7 green sources, 7 black sources, 9 green sources, and 2 blue sources naturally. And then all of the cards that can search for whatever color we need. So yeah, I like this mana base quite a bit. 15. This is 17 lands though, and we do have double Azusa's Many Journeys, so we really want to have 4 lands in hand anytime we have this to really to ramp up. But I mean, worst case scenario, it is still, gain 3 life, then have a 3/3. So maybe not worth playing 18 lands just for that, but 18 lands also helps hit the Sky Turtle more frequently. Let's see. I don't think this is a Clawing Torment deck. I don't think we're that aggressive. Though we want to just shut off a blocker and have our opponent lose some life. Don't think we're an Undercity Scrounger deck either. We don't have any sacrifice to make creatures die super frequently. I don't know, I guess this is a ramp card. This does ramp into our Sky Turtle. It's true, and it is an annoying blocker. Definitely not an Heir of the Ancient Fang deck. How many artifacts do we have? We have 2 artifacts. So we're not playing the Kami of Terrible Secrets. It's just a 4-mana 3/4. We've got 3 4-mana 4/4s. So yeah, we'll cut the Kami and cut the Heir of the Ancient Fang for sure. These are our maybes right now. I feel like Clawing Torment is still pretty powerful, and we've got a lot of creatures, and we're somewhat curving out here. So maybe sometimes it'll be just a good aggressive card. But again, it is in a really competitive slot in our deck because we have 2 Twisted Embrace, 2 Fade into Antiquity, Lethal Exploit, Master's Rebuke, Spinning Wheel Kick. It's competing with so much other removal. I think, yeah, we're cutting that. 11 creatures, 4 sagas though, so basically 15 creatures. I think I still don't want to cut any more creatures. Oh no, 16 creatures with Harmonious Emergence. Quite a solid amount here. We could cut a creature if we want. I like all the creatures that are left in here though, except maybe the Undercity Scrounger. And I can see a good argument for a 17 land version or an 18 land version here. I'm not sure which is best. The argument towards an 17 land version is that we have Ecologist Terrarium and Greater Tanuki to pull out a land to be playing kind of like functionally in 18 land version here. The argument for an 18 land version is it lets our Zeus's Many Journeys trigger more often, and we have some high cost stuff, Greater Tanuki and Sky Turtle. Spinning Wheel Kick as well, we want 1 million mana for. Season of Renewal as well. It's going to be quite a late game play. Return 2 cards, we'll want to have the mana to cast both of them immediately, ideally, to really pop off. I might even cut Lethal Exploit here. Might even cut Lethal Exploit and Master's Rebuke, to be honest. Just go for the later removal. Then we could cut Scrounger as well. So the question is, do we want to land or Scrounger more? Scrounger can function as a land if something dies. We spit out treasure tokens to get to the Tanuki or Sky Turtle faster, or Spinning Wheel Kick. However, requires things dying. And the land is just like consistent mana. Oh, we have Shigeki as well. Yeah, with Shigeki's channel ability as well, costing 1 million mana, I do definitely want an 18 land deck here. Maybe we even cut like a Bamboo Grove Archer instead for the land instead of Scrounger, because again, Scrounger does give us mana, it's just temporary mana for all these big X spells and stuff. I don't know, I just don't think Scrounger's going to be super consistent. I'm going to cut Scrounger. I'm definitely going to play 18 lands here, though. So now we have 9 green sources and 8 black sources. Because we have double black cards like Twisted Embrace, we definitely want double black for. 9 green sources, a little less than 1 in 10. I'm sorry, a little less than 1 in 4, because it's a little less than 10 green sources. 1 out of every 4 is a green source. We don't have much double green till late game. We have Greater Tanuki turn 3. We have Terrarium if we really need green. Yeah, I think we're good with a 9-8 split here to make it easy to cast Twisted Embrace, but still have more green than anything else, just so it hits more consistently in the early game. Make sure we can channel our Tanuki, make sure we can cast our Many Journeys or our Tech Wreck or anything like that. I could see some sick games where we get to bounce an Okiba Reckoner raid with Kappa Tech Wreckers and Ninjutsu. That would be absurd. Yeah, pretty excited for this deck. Nice little Sultai ramp deck here, mainly just like green-black Good stuff, good removal, nice graveyard recursion with Gloom Shrieker, Season of Renewal, so we really have late game, even Shigeki here as well for a massive recursion in the late game, and some ramp here too, puts land into play. Deck seems pretty sweet, and I'm happy to try it out. Let's go ahead and head into round 1 now. Round 1 here, we do have 3 lands in hand. Can't guarantee the 4 for Many Journeys. Actually, I don't know why I kept thinking I need 4. That would be if I play it on turn 3. If I play it turn 2, I just need the 3. Yeah, no, this is great with Many Journeys here. We do ideally hit the 4th on turn 3 so that we can actually play a 4-drop on turn 3. That's probably where I got it from. Is that like if you have 3 lands on turn 2 so that you can spit the 3rd land out on turn 2, you're only actually gaining like the extra value off of that if you can follow it up with a 4th land on turn 3. Because then otherwise, like, you just still have 3 lands turn 3 like you were always going to have anyway. So yeah, hitting the land for the Preserver here is pretty sweet. 4-drop on turn 3 seems nice every time. Definitely got most of the lands that we need to play any of our big cards that we draw into. I get to cast Shigeki here, and we have 2 blockers for their Menace creature. That'll be pretty excellent. I could use Terrarium to put a counter on Preserver, but that seems worse than just casting a Shigeki here, so we know we can block Menace and they can't do any ninjutsu next turn. Unless they play some removal of their own. Let's go ahead and grab a Swamp here so we have double black for our Twisted Embraces. We'll cast our Shigeki here. 2 blockers on board. And then if we just draw land and we have nothing else to do, if they haven't killed Shigeki, we can just use Shigeki's ability to bounce it to our hand, milling ourselves 4 and putting another land onto the board. And then that mill will give us the cards to do. We'll just channel to pick them up and start playing them. Tezzeret's a little scary here. Yeah, Tezzeret's very scary here. I was going to say, Tezzeret's a little scary here, but not that bad because they don't have any artifacts. And I was like, oh, they do have a network terminal. So the strongest thing Tezzeret can do, obviously, is the -2 ability, making any artifact permanently a 4/4. Even if we kill Tezzeret, they've still spent 4 mana to make their network terminal a 4/4, which isn't the worst deal ever. And if Tezzeret sticks on board, then they just get to keep doing absurd things with them. Put a counter on Likeness of the Seeker and attack Tezzeret with 2 4/4s. They have to chump block both or Tez dies. And it's not a chump block, I guess, with Terminal. It would be a trade. I think that's worth it. We won't have a blocker for Nezumi Road Captain anymore, so they do get to ninjutsu us, but I'm going to have to accept some casualties to make sure that Tezzeret gets out of here before they make a million 4/4s. They have plans for this Tezzeret. I'd be surprised for the double block to protect Tezzeret. Because like unless they have a dire need for some card draw, or they have more cards to make 4/4s, I would expect that they just trade off their 4/4 if they want to kill one of our cards, or just let Tez die here. So, all right, did not expect that. Looks like Tezzeret will stick around another turn. Hold on to our Shigeki's ability. This is instant speed, so we'll do it during their end step, or we'll do it in response to them trying to do any removal if they do. Highly doubt they will. If they try to do removal, they'll probably just kill the 4/4 because they know we can put Shigeki back in our hand. Just realized the game audio was pretty low this whole time. My apologies. Couldn't hear Tezzeret's glorious sayings and stuff. So they drew 2, discarded 2 lands, so they must be kind of flooded out here, needing Tezzeret to keep their card draw fueled. There's a Prosperous Thief, creating them a treasure token whenever they hit us. Clawing Torment on the Preserver to make it just a 3/3, so it will trade into the Thief when we attack in, and it can't block. So it's kind of our only choice of what to do with it. Dismal Backwater here. Pick up a Twisted Embrace and a Zeus's Many Journeys. That's the options. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. 8 mana with Shigeki is enough to pick up 3 cards. Could also just, could also just Season of Renewal right now. Do I have any creatures in grave though? No. Saga's an enchantment, so Season of Renewal would be to pick up 1 card, so I think I just attack Tezzeret with Jukai Preserver. They might take the trade again, just defending Tezzeret, and if they do take the trade, my Season of Renewal is now active, so that we can just cast something this turn. Instead of just waiting till their end step to do anything with Shigeki. We'll go for our immediate plays. I've got a Twisted Embrace we can use to kill Tezzeret or one of their blockers next turn. And we've still got a nice board position with a 4/4 down and a 2/2 Menace coming out next turn. I guess I could have pre-combated the Season of Renewal just to pick up the 1 Twisted Embrace to blow up their blocker and kill Tezzeret. Clear their board that turn. Probably a bit greedy of me, just wanting to get max value. Pick up a creature and enchantment by doing it post-combat. And then that way we still have Twisted Embrace in the future. Yeah, that was definitely extra greedy. Got a Gloom Shrieker here now. Can pick up an Zeus's Many Journeys. Can pick up a Twisted Embrace if our Twisted Embraced creature dies. So I think that we do Twisted Embrace on the Preserver. Just blow up Tezzeret guaranteed. And then just start attacking them. And if they want to trade into our 5/5, we have so much recursion that that just definitely goes well for us. And if they don't want to do that, do we Shigeki? Because we'd only be bringing 1 card back right now anyway. I think we do Shigeki, because then I can use Shigeki's ability, put Shigeki back in hand, mill ourselves more, and hopefully mill something for Gloom Shrieker to do. Because as long as I can be putting things in hand, and like still committing stuff to the board, like still actively casting spells, I'm not going to want to dump 1,000 mana into the channel effect. Let's get Shigeki into hand here. And go for a Gloom Shrieker instead. Ooh, Gloom Shrieker on the Colossal Sky Turtle should be nice here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, and then we just cast it next turn. This is an easy double attack. All they have is a chump block. The Wandering Emperor. That's a horrible time. Exile tapped creature to gain 2 life. Twisted Embrace will go to our grave. We can pick it up with Gloom Shrieker and then kill the Wandering Emperor. We have exactly enough mana to do that. Let's hope for that. Exile the Jukai Preserver.
Must contend with me.
We can just fight right through both their planeswalkers that way. Yep, this is gonna feel real good for us.
Much of a roadblock.
Yep, we still have double black up because Dismal Backwater. Yeah, this is gonna feel disgusting. So much for our Sky Turtle though now. But we got rid of the Wandering Emperor and Tezzeret. Feels pretty good. Naomi, Pillar of Order now. They only have artifacts out though, but she's still quite a big blocker to help with a double block on one of our menace creatures. Send in the Network Disruptor because that one does not block particularly well. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. Should pick up 1,000,000 cards with Shigeki. Just go for it next turn. Probably do it right now in case they draw a Mirror Shell Crab or something. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 4 for X. Pick up a big old Sky Turtle, a big old Tanuki, Giant Tales of Master Sashiro. Pick up a Season of Renewal to pick up more cards. Land off the top for our opponent. We're still at 21 life here. We'll go down to 20. And they're just going to jam in here. I'll take it all. Down to 12. Bamboo Grove Archer. It's going to be an excellent blocker. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. 10 mana is enough to play the Bamboo Grove Archer and the Tanuki and hold up the bounce spell on the Sky Turtle just to be extra safe. I feel like this is our safest line that still all but guarantees lethal next turn. Tribute to Hirobi gives us a nice little rat for now. Eventually it does flip into a flying threat on their board. So if I bounce one of their creatures in their end step, I don't think they can survive. They can block one menace creature. That's going to be the worst way to block. The trample, yeah, they can't survive because trample. So yeah, we just bounce their Naomi in their end step and then attack all. Should definitely be lethal, but we can even get an extra counter on the trampler to make extra sure. Alright, and it is mega lethal. Here we are in game 2 with a super defensive hand, but I'll take it for the early game. We've got our most important colors. Just drop a Bamboo Grove Archer turn 2 to block for now, hold up some Fade into Antiquities, and hope to survive till we hit any of our late game plays. Playing against a red-white here. Be red-white Samurai. With still no plays on turn 3, so we might not even need this Bamboo Grove Archer to sit on our butts for a while. No plays turn 4 either. Wow, this is a game of Magic. Both of us have just drawn our slowest hands possible, it looks like. So red, white, and black. They were stuck off of black mana for that time. Ishin, 2 heavens as 1. So all their cards that trigger off of attacking will trigger twice now. Tatsunari Toad Rider is an incredibly bad time. One of the biggest bombs in the whole set. For only 3 mana, you're essentially getting 2 3/3s out of it just as soon as you cast an enchantment. Could Spinning Wheel kick here just to kill Tatsunari. I might have to. I have 0 other action. I guess I just threatened to block Tatsunari anyway, so they might not attack, and we can go for a bigger Spinning Wheel kick in the future. We certainly have the mana for that. Alright, well, that kind of just means we auto-lose. Should have considered that. Probably should have just... I mean, it feels bad, but I should have just, like, Spinning Wheel kicked for one kill there, just in case of removal from our opponent. This is rough. This looks like a definite loss here. We could channel Sky Turtle to pick our Bamboo Grove Archer back, but then it's just a 3/3 against a 4/4 and a 3/4. Yeah, no, we just got max punished for the slow hand. I think that's lethal. That is lethal. So, we didn't get punished by our opponent playing a particularly fast curve ever. We just got punished by our draws. Started with Bamboo Grove Archer, Double Fade into Antiquity, Spinning Wheel Kick. We drew exclusively lands into an off-color card. That was all of our action for that game, so it's bound to happen sometimes. 1 and 1 it will be. Alright, this hand is definitely better than our last one. We've got multiple threats. Not really threats, but creatures. Oni Colt Anvil from our opponent. I'm just going to get my Kappa Tech Wrecker down, and if they can't defend that, we're going to exile that Anvil. Playing the Kappa Tech Wrecker because I don't have anything to ninjutsu it until really late. Because we just have the Bamboo Grove Archer. Pass the turn here. We'll play a Jukai Preserver next turn. But we might want to Season of Renewal our Kappa Tech Wrecker. I guess I'll have the mana turn 5 to Season of Renewal, pick up the Tech Wrecker, and ninjutsu it onto the Preserver. So I actually don't need to Season of Renewal it right now. So I probably should have just ran out the Bamboo Grove Archer. But their board's still basically empty. As soon as they play another artifact, though, things are going to start really going off for them. Unstoppable Ogre, there you go. There's another artifact right there. Sacrifice that, get a couple 1/1 constructs to chump block with. We'll attack in. If they don't chump block, we're getting rid of an Anvil. They don't chump block, so Season of Renewal. Pick up Kappa Tech Warrior, or Kappa Tech Wrecker. Ninjutsu onto the Preserver. Clear out one Anvil so they're not double anviling us to death. They can sacrifice it to its own ability if they want, but if I target the other one, they can sacrifice the other one to this one's ability. Doesn't really matter which one I target. So if our Kappa Tech Wrecker ever dies, we do have a Shigeki to get it back again, and it'll come back with a Death Touch counter. So not playing the Archer is coming back to bite us a bit. We're taking some extra damage from these 1/1s. Twisted Embrace is the draw. Blow up Heiko Yamazaki. Seems pretty important. Probably is the play here. Or else she will recast the first Oni Colt Anvil. Supposed to play it defensive here because they're just going to keep gaining life every turn. Just hitting for 2 is not going to do much. Voltage Surge. Sack a 1/1. Spit out another 1/1 with Oni Colt Anvil. Kill our 2/4. Ooh, Dockside Chef. The combo with Oni Colt Anvil is an exceptional deal. There's a Spinning Wheel Kick to deal with that in the future. We can play Shigeki and Bamboo Grove Archer to just have more blockers here rather than playing one Preserver. I think I like that. Again, should have just played that Archer a long time ago. We could have Spinning Wheel Kicked this turn instead. But ideally we get 1 more mana for the Spinning Wheel Kick too. But yeah, the Rakdos deck's certainly popping off. Oni Colt Anvil plus Dockside Chef is a hell of a drug. That's going to be 2 mana to draw a card every turn because they can just keep replacing. If you want to your already dead Shigeki, you've got it. Or Ironhoof Boar Shigeki. Spinning Wheel Kick Dockside Chef and a 1/1. Sack the 1/1, drain us for a life. As always with the anvil. Bronze Plate Boar, 3/2 trample, they can reconfigure for 5. And drain us for life again, replacing the 1/1. 7 mana here. Could play Master Shishiro on many journeys, but then I'm putting a counter on my defender. I would rather play Preserver into many journeys and play Tales of Master Shishiro next turn to put a counter on something that does not have defender. Maybe I shouldn't have played the land. We are playing into a Virus Beetle from our opponent now, which is a good card in Rakdos. This deck is sick. The Voltage Surges with the Oni Cult Anvil to just keep them fueled. We had the removal for an Oni Cult Anvil, but only for one of the two that they got to play, like, turn 1. So we can Sky Turtle here to return something from grave, and we'll have 4 mana left afterwards. So we could Spinning Wheel Kick for 1, we could Jukai Preserver, we could Twisted Embrace, could just pick up Shigeki as well. Let's just hold on to Sky Turtle for now and just try to make more blockers by setting some sagas down. I think I'm going to hold on to it for just now and hope flipping our sagas is going to be enough to block for now. Again, the Oni Cult Anvil is kind of shredding us. Easy trade. That Death Toucher out of the way. I'd like to stack these so we have a creature before the thing triggers, but I don't know if that's a thing we can do. Dragger triggers to choose resolution. Yeah, we can't do it because we choose what the resolution order is. So if we have this resolve first, that means that we're putting this on the stack first, which means when we put this on the stack, we have to choose a target. So we put it on the stack, choose a target, we don't have a target. And we put this on the stacks. And then, you know, this resolves, we get a 3/3, this resolves, it didn't target anything. If we do it this way, then this resolves with no target on the board. This resolves, yeah. So I mean, this is the only way that it looks like it might work, but I don't think it works. Right? Maybe it does. Maybe it does. Yeah, no, it doesn't work. It didn't put a counter on anything. Okay, so still no blue source, so we have to just kind of cycle the Sky Turtle here. We do have 8 mana now, so we can draw something that costs 5. So we can go Shigeki, Twisted Embrace, or Spinning Wheel Kick to kill something. Probably have to kill the Steelbreaker here. We probably... Yeah, it sucks we can't just like pick up Shigeki here and be safe. I think our safest play is to just pick up Twisted Embrace and kill the Steelbreaker. And then we have a 4/4 blocker for all their nonsense still. Yeah. But luckily, our deck is so recursive, we still have another recursive card in the deck, Gloom Shrieker, we could do to get Shigeki back later. But for now, I think I kill the Steelbreaker because they have these expendable 1/1s all the time. They can keep fueling it with to keep attacking with it as a 5/5. Problem is, Bronze Plate Boar is almost as good. They can just reconfigure the boar onto the 1/1 and then attack with the 1/1 as a 4-power creature. So either one of their creatures is just an absurd threat there. But we're gonna have a 5/5 out now, which a 5/5 can block a 1/1 with a Bronze Plate Boar on it, even if it can't block the Scrapyard Steelbreaker. So now we're setting up to at least block with our Tales of Master Sashiro. If they want to trade their boar into our Likeness of the Seeker, I'm all for it. Send in all. Drain for life here. Removal from our opponent's pretty bad for us. We take 4, go to 5. Drain for life, we're down to 4. We now have a 4/4, but they can reconfigure onto this 1/1 and attack into that well. With Jukai Preserver, we can make it a 5/5, and they can no longer do that. Better to get another creature on the board than try to channel at instant speed to be fancy. And now we're just at that point where we just keep getting drained for 1 all game till we die, 5 turns. Oni Cult Anvil just doing its absurd Oni Cult Anvil things. We can stop all of this damage and then have a 2/2 Menace to block their 1/1s. So that didn't change too much. We're still, just as I said before, just dying to Oni Cult Anvil. Hitting for 1 per turn for 4 turns. Spread out our toughness here to have a couple 3/3s so they can't Voltage Surge without sacrificing. Yeah. We'll do that. They've played a bunch of Voltage Surge. They might have like 1,000,000 in here. That way if they have another Voltage Surge, they have to sacrifice something to kill one of our creatures at least. Unstoppable Ogre speeds up the clock. The gas just never stops from our opponent here. They just have a cement brick on the gas pedal. Greater Tanuki, big old blocker. We can grab our blue source, but our only blue card's in the grave anyway. So I guess big old blocker it is. Attack for 3 Menace. But then we only have 2 blockers. That speeds up how fast we die by 1 turn. Which is really important. Because we only have 3 turns to live, so... Or 2 of our turns to live. No, I guess it is 3 turns to live. Yeah, every turn matters a whole ton. So every 1 point of damage from a card like Kamano Faces Kakazan is 1 less turn to survive. That's game. Double Oni Cult Anvil, turn 2, turn 3. Writing was kind of on the wall from the start. Our best hope would have been... Well, every point of damage ended up mattering a ton there, so if we just got our 2 mana 3/3 defender out sooner, that was definitely a big misplay, just holding up to pick up the Kappa Tech Wrecker. I should have done the math sooner to realize that I could just use the season turn 5 to pick up Kappa Tech Wrecker and ninjutsu it, because that was definitely going to be our plan, was to ninjutsu the Kappa Tech Wrecker, and we did end up doing that, but I would have had the mana to just do that turn 5 anyway. I didn't need to hold up 3 mana turn 3, so had I just played the defender earlier, we'd have blocked more often, which as you can see at the end there, every point of life mattered, so it could have given us an extra turn or 2 for sure by just having a defender out there early. The other play we could have done differently I couldn't see, I don't know, I just could not find a turn that it would be safe to return like Shigeki to hand with the Sky Turtle. But if we could find a way to just have a Shigeki still in hand, that could always turn things. So maybe if we didn't block with it so aggressively, but if we didn't block with it so aggressively, we would die faster. If we're not immediately using it for a ton of value. Or if we manage to pick that up with the Sky Turtle instead of the removal, but then again, we're under more pressure, taking more damage, so just as likely we die faster. Alright. They kill our menace creature with a voltage surge. They do it before we cast the Preserver. Best time to do that is after it enters the battlefield, because then we might choose to target the Okiba Reckoner raid, the Nozumi Road Captain, and if we target the Road Captain with our +1/+1 counter, you can respond and we lose a +1/+1 counter. Could have a 5/5 Vigilance here, just send in. Crew 3, they could block with a Bank Buster and Simian Sling though, so that seems bad. Don't think I want a Tails here. We just play a 4/5 Vigilance as well. That seems pretty good. I guess we could attack both here, and then they can just trade a Bank Buster into one if they want. They could double block Preserver. And then Preserver trades into one card. Double block the Harmonious Emergence, and that trades into one card. Either way, whittle down their board a bit seems good. And to the point where they do not want their board whittled down, they're going to take it all, go to 10. The green-red modified deck here popping off in a pretty exciting way. Invigorating Hot Spring to keep things modified. The Upriser Renegade to get +2 power for each modified creature. If they play another creature, modify it with Hot Spring. The Renegade's a 5 power creature now. Plus, Hot Spring gives everything haste. So pretty cool stuff from our opponent. We're hoping to just play beefier stuff than them. They do get the cost reduction off the Peerless Samurai here as well if they have another spell in hand for 2. If they don't, they can just draw a card off the Bank Buster. They do have Flame Discharge, which absolutely pops off here. They got a ton of modified creatures, and they got the cost reduction off it, so definitely lethal there. We can play Tales of Master Sashiro to make our land a 5/6, so the only way they kill it is with a double block with Renegade and Sling, and then we would kill both of those. However, if they just crew Bank Buster with the Renegade, they can double block with Sling and Bank Buster instead, and then we just kill the Bank Buster. So that seems not great. Plus, actually, if I cast Tales of Master Sashiro, I'm tapping the land so it doesn't attack anyway. I think I'm going to buff up the land here, and then I'm just not going to attack in because I don't want it to trade into just the Bank Buster. And it does hold off their attacks pretty well if they don't top deck removal. They pick up a Tawashi Guidebot here. Yeah, so we're looking for another black source for Twisted Embrace to really break through this board state, but a Tales of Master Sashiro is pretty good too. However, yeah, they did just play another creature, so the Renegade's a 7/3 now, an 8/4. Yeah, we're not going to be able to get through that, but we will be able to trade with it at least. We can set up Shigeki now to try to pull out the black source with Shigeki. And we can also play Gloom Shrieker, but if I do that, then I tap down my 5/6 blocker, which seems not ideal. Okay, I don't think I want to tap down my 5/6 blocker. I think I'm just going to play a Shigeki and pass, maybe? Their board is really big, and this is the only thing that can 1-for-1 trade for the Renegade. Yeah, I think we're on Shigeki to use the return ability to try to pull out another black source to get rid of their Upriser Renegade. Tawashi Guidebot's a really big deal too, because that's going to draw them an extra card every turn for free, because they have so many modified creatures. The ability costs 0 mana to just tap it and draw a card. Again, not attacking with the 5/6 because I think I just need to be able to hold off the Upriser Renegade without having to double block. Bronze Cudgels is just a pretty cheap equipment to get another modified creature. Does give fire breathing basically, plus X plus O, which is pretty threatening. Doesn't do a lot of damage till you've dumped a bunch of mana into it, but they've got a bunch of mana. Tales of Master Sashiro. Or do we use Shigeki's ability? We could Gloomshaker and still use Shigeki's ability. I guess we could use Shigeki's ability first if we really want to. But I think I'd rather do Shigeki during their turn, because we have the card we want to play. We have the Twisted Embrace here. So we can just pull out a Jukai Preserver from grave for now. Just make sure we just keep dumping things onto this board. And then ideally, we use Shigeki to hit the black source for Twisted Embrace. How much damage is that? X equals 4 plus 2, that's going to be 6 damage. We can cycle Preserver instead of using Shigeki here. But if we do that, our creature's tapped down anyway, which is pretty rough. That is insanely rough. But we can make our Preserver... Yeah, I think we kind of have to do this. We can make our Preserver a 4/4 to trade with Renegade. So then we still have decent blocks. Alright, so what I was going to say is our plan here is hopefully Shigeki hits the black source for Twisted Embrace, and then we just need to draw one of our 2 Fade into Antiquities to deal with Guidebot. So then we kill the Giant Renegade, get rid of their constant card draw, and we've got a game. We probably, if we don't draw Fade into Antiquity, we probably just have to kill the Guidebot first, actually. Because them just consistently drawing 2 cards per turn instead of our 1 per turn. It's going to take over this game regardless. Spinning Wheel Kick is beautiful. That's exactly what the Doctor ordered. Got 6 mana, so we have enough to kill Renegade plus Guidebot. Those are the 2 cards we really want to kill. Let's just do it. This is going to be beautiful. What a great draw. Just completely forgot about that. I might even want to kill the Menace creature instead of the Renegade, because we can block with a 4 toughness creature, actually. And they're going to have less modified stuff? Yeah. Yeah, no, let's kill the Menace creature. And the Guidebot. Can block a Renegade all day long. And it's not even going to be 8 power anymore. It's going to be like 4 power. Six power as long as the Bank Buster's crewed. That was a beautiful draw. Spinning Wheel Kick just gave us all the answers we wanted in just 1 turn. Didn't even consider that card as a potential draw. Alright, well, we've got some more creatures out, so Renegade is back to being very threatening. A 7/5. So we would have to make a double block and lose 2 creatures. I would double block with Preserver Gloomshaker, though, if they go for it. Well, it looks like they just slap Bronze Cudgels onto it. We can make our land a 7/8 now. If we make it a 7/8. Is there any way they double block and kill it, and we only kill 1 creature? Yeah, they can block with a 7/5 and a 3/4. And it's got 9 toughness there. We only have 7 power. They could also block with Bankbuster if they really want. Yeah, we try to pull out the Swamp then to now get the Renegade out of the way. And we keep Shigeki in hand for later. Do not get the Swamp. Just play Bamboo Grove Archer then. Maybe we do recast Shigeki and just dig again. Looking for the mana. Yeah, I was planning on just keeping Shigeki in hand to channel I mean, yeah, Shigeki can channel for a spinning wheel kick. Maybe we do. Just do that. Almost definitely just do that. Now that I think of it. As much as I want the black source for the Twisted Embrace, getting a spinning wheel kick back is probably better. Send in the 7-5. Go for the double block. Safekeeping. Now they don't have that for our spinning wheel kick. Blossom Prancer. Opponent is just hitting some gas here for sure. Kodama of the West Tree giving all of their modified creatures trample when they have Invigorating Hot Spring to choose whatever they want to modify, plus Bronze Cudgels to move around. That's absolutely horrendous. So just pick up our spinning wheel kick. It's our best plan here. We really need to hit a land so that we can hold our 6-7 up to block with. We do hit a land, and it's the black source we've been looking for. So we could even play Twisted Embrace and Bamboo Grove Archer here instead. Well, I guess we do have the mana to hold the creature up as a blocker, but I can also just do a triple spinning wheel kick instead. Kill Sashiro, Blossom Prancer, Upriser Renegade. 3, 4, 5, 6 as the X. Just let them get some lands for a moment, but then we hold up blockers. Yeah, let's triple kick. I don't think that they can lethal us with the Bronze Cudgels next turn. Maybe they can. We'll just end the draft for the day there. It's possible. They have 5 damage right now. Kodama comes out, they have 4, because they give that haste. It requires 3 of their mana, they dump everything else into Bronze Cudgels, that's like 3 more damage. Yeah, they can't lethal us. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They can hit us for like 12. I guess they can Crew Bankbuster instead, hit us for 13. With bronze cudgels. Alright, no equip of the cudgels. So we just take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They grab a bunch of lands because Kodama is bonkers. Play a Bamboo Grove Archer, Twisted Embrace to kill their card that gives everything trample. And then we just keep hitting them with this Vigilant creature while we sit behind our own board. Yeah, I would rather play Bamboo Grove Archer than Tales of Master Sashiro, so I have a blocker even if they draw into removal. But I am going to Twisted Embrace the Vigilant creature for more damage. And our Bamboo Grove Archer gives us a chump blocker to block with so that our 7-8 doesn't just die to Bronze Cudgels. That was actually misplayed. I wasn't thinking about Bronze Cudgels there. I should have been. Because when you factor in Bronze Cudgels, I should have put the Twisted Embrace onto the Bamboo Grove Archer so that if they put Bronze Cudgels onto Heir of the Ancient Fang, I can still block and trade with it, rather than just chump block with it. Because if they put Bronze Cudgels onto the Heir of the Ancient Fang, we're not going to block that with our 7-8. I mean, unless I do some math here. They can activate it 3 times, so +1, then +2, then +3. +6 total. +6 total means that'll be an 8-power Simian Sling. I'm actually pretty happy with this. I'd have been really unhappy if they put it on the air and attacked in. Although, yeah, that's true. They can just use it as a blocker. 8 power Simian Sling. So we make a 9 power land. And we kill 2 of their creatures on this attack. Oh. If we attack in with an 8/9, they can block with a Simian Sling alongside their like crude Bankbuster or something. And then we lose our land. They lose both the creatures they blocked with. And we're down to just a 3/3 here. I don't think we can afford, when they have a Bronze Cudgels out, I don't think we can afford to attack in like that. So I think we're just buffing our Archer, playing our Many Journeys. But Bronze Cudgels popping off this game, making it really hard to attack in. So when they have a card like that to sit behind with the value spells they've been able to play, Bankbuster for the draw 3, Tawashi Guidebot probably drew them like 4 or 5 cards here. Opponent is definitely popping off. Rabbit Battery. Can move the Cudgels onto that, slap in for 1 million. But if they ever go for the offensive Cudgels, they won't have the mana for the defensive Cudgels anymore, and I'll get an attack with my Vigilant creature, which is nice. Offensive Cudgels it is. They're going to have to activate that at least twice. If I block with the 7/8, they do have more than enough mana to make that an 8 power sling. But now they don't have the mana to make a really good Cudgels block on our 7/8 here, especially because it'll be an 8/9 after another run of the Tales of Master Sashiro. And they didn't even re-equip the Cudgels. So they have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 toughness. We have 9, or they have 8 power, we have 9 toughness. They have exactly enough mana to buff the bearer, but then they'd have to block with literally everybody to kill this creature. They'd have to block with everybody and use Bearer of Memory, so they probably just chump block here. We get 2 more creatures next turn. We get a 3/3, we get a 5/5 Vigilance. Crew the Bankbuster. Slam Cudgels onto the Bankbuster. We kind of have to block now, right? Or we take 11. They have 12 mana. Yeah, this is where Cudgels just demolishes my soul. We've got double Fade into Antiquity here, but I don't think we've ever drawn that against... We didn't draw a single one against this deck with these sick artifacts enchantments, and we didn't draw one against the Oni Cult Anvil deck either. This has been a brutal Premier draft. 12 mana means Cudgels goes 6 total. Then they activate it 3 more times. So it goes from 6 to plus 10. Plus, well over lethal. Well over lethal here. Yeah, they have enough mana to do it 3 more times after that. If we attack with Sashiro's Living Legacy, how do they kill it? They trade it into the Bearer of Memory. That is their best creature that they have. But if they trade Bearer of Memory into the Living Legacy, then we don't have anything to kill their 4 toughness creature anymore, so then they can just put the coggles, the cudgels onto the Heir of the Ancient Fang and attack in on a 3/3. They're at the point now they can easily start doing fancy things with the cudgels, where they equip it to a different creature and then, right, like they dump a bunch into it and then they move it to another one, activate it just one time and give it like +5, move it, activate it one time, give it like +6. This is just Bronze Cudgel's game to shine here. With the Ember Keeper too, so every time something that has the cudgels on it dies, they just get another 1/1 to throw the cudgels onto. Oh, it's just really popped off throughout this game, I'd say. Alright, that's game. So an unfortunate run of this Premier Draft. Looks like just a 1 and 3 today, but it is bound to happen. You can't win them all. We've had some opponents' decks absolutely pop off, and they were certainly some decks that we've got answers to their stuff. We're just not drawing the answers we need at the times that we need. Double Fade into Antiquity, but we don't get that to deal with the Bronze Cudgels or the Oni Cult Anvils in those 2 losses. And our other loss was just a really slow hand, the game where we drew 1 non-land card in that game, and it was just an off-color card. So that was kind of just a pre-designated loss in that one. So really rough show of it. That makes me really sad, because I think this deck was pretty sweet in general. I definitely played pretty poorly as well, but we're just in the chill regular draft mode. I'm out of the arena open mindset, so don't hate on me too hard for it, or I will be sad. So yeah, definitely made a bunch of misplays or whatever like normal, but just trying to do a vibe draft here. Did not pan out as well as I would have hoped. I think this deck is legitimately pretty sick, pretty good. The Zeus's Many Journeys, actually, they did play out kind of poorly for how this deck was looking, so that probably overvalued that a little bit. If these were Careful Cultivations instead, I think the deck would have probably functioned better. Anything else to say about the draft or the gameplay? Gameplay, Shigeki was rough. It was really rough because we just kept getting put into positions where we had to... It just felt like we had to deal with what they currently had on board, or we're just dying in 1 to 2 turns, so we just couldn't afford to sit and wait for like the triple value Shigeki. A lot of the time. Kappa Tech Wrecker was awesome every time, as always. Gloomshaker was awesome, Jukai Preserver was awesome, Season Renewal was awesome. Yep, just some relatively big misplays, giving us some punishment there, but also some really, really bonkers shenanigans from our last 2 opponents, and a little bit of poor luck elsewhere. So that is going to end today's Premier Draft. I would like to thank you all for all the support on the Arena Open videos. It has been pretty absurd. Just really did not expect that in the comment section, because after the last round's loss, I did notice afterwards, after the recording, that yeah, I misplayed pretty poorly in our last loss there, so we might have been able to do a 7-win run in the Arena Open Day 2. Probably not, though. Our opponent's deck was pretty sick, but I was playing around them having an instant when they just had a vehicle on board. I just had gotten so locked in that mindset in the earlier rounds that I was like, hey, they've just got instants. So I was playing around a card they didn't even have, and it made it so I just did not spend my removal as quickly as I could have. So I could have definitely lived one or two turns longer, which can always change the course of the game. You never know. So definitely some misplays there. I was expecting to get a lot of poop for that, but the comments have all been super supportive and super kind, so I appreciate that a lot. Thank you all for the congratulations on the Arena Open stuff and all that. So I just wanted to say, yeah, thank you for all being super chill, super cool. Even with the constructive comments, you're all very chill about it, and I appreciate that a lot. So yeah, that is just my little spiel for the end of this video, because it's kind of relevant, because I just did misplay a lot. It just got slammed with a deck that I think that was pretty good, but it certainly happens. I really enjoy the drafting process. I think I'm a pretty good drafter and deck builder. When it gets to the gameplay, that's where I just, the lines all get really muddled up and it turns into chess, and I just want to flip the board. Because I'm like, I don't know what to do here. Like, I don't know. I just wanted to paint a picture of a deck and be like, look at all these synergies and all this cool stuff, and then just give the deck to somebody else and be like, all right, you play it. All right. Anyways, I'm rambling now. Thank you all again for watching this video. You can stick around for more. There'll be plenty more videos in the near future. I do these near daily, mostly drafts, but I also like to do the random events like midweek magic and stuff here and there. So yeah, thank you all again very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.